Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and me and Andy are back.
God, it is not fall yet. What happened?
It's not. I told you, it's fake fall.
I'm tired. I'm so tired of this fucking edging of fall.
Cools down, it's right back.
God, just want some pumpkins. Come on.
Summer's back, just like we are, guys. Sorry about last week. I got just a little overwhelmed. We got a couple house projects going on. I got family visiting from out of town, and it's just...
Yeah, he's being very modest by house project. This motherfucker built an extension room onto his house. Looks goddamn like a magnificent cabin that you walk into a different wonderland. And he's like, a little house project.
Yeah, a little house project.
Just walking here like, where did this fucking come from? All right.
Why's your house bigger? What happened? Yeah. So me and my wife were working real hard to finish that up, so that when family came in, they would have another room to stay in. Mm-hmm. Or whatnot. So yeah,
That's Michael's mentality right there. We got family coming in, but we don't have any. We don't have any extra rooms. Well, I guess I'm building one.
It's not exactly how it happened, but
fucking old timer right here.
But it freaking worked out. It worked out. Yeah. I like to do things myself. Even if it takes longer. I don't know. It's worth the experience, I think. But anyways, we're back. That's neither here nor there, right, Andy? Mm-hmm. But guys, before we get into this, I want to tell you, you can hear these episodes early, ad-free, with bonus content. Me and Andy just talked about 20 minutes about all types of shows that we liked and ways that we think sports would be more interesting.
Yes.
Just a couple suggestions. But
just
yes,
that's here.
But that's just some of what you'll catch in the bonus content this week, and it varies. Who knows? But don't forget to check out Patreon. That's where you can find all the bonus content and everything we create. Patreon.com/truecrimeguys, wherever, or there's a link right below. Not wherever, it's only at Patreon. Yeah. But wherever you listen to podcasts, we have other shows like Strange and Unexplained, Cryptic Soup, and also Sandu Stories. So make sure you check those out as well. But today, we got an interesting case. It's might been inspiration for a movie or certain movies like this, like When a Stranger Calls.
Oh, Michael, is the call coming from inside the house?
Right.
Oh my God.
It's almost like, how many movies incorporated that? I
mean, it had to have happened at least one time for someone to get that idea.
Oh, it happened way more than that. I'm going to give you a few examples today. But one in particular, I think it was loosely based on, and that's the one we're talking about today, Janett Christman. There have been a few stories and probably even more film depictions of a teenage girl hired to babysit. Then after the children have been put to bed, the babysitter is now alone, watching a movie, doing homework, on phone with her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. She's occupied, right? Everything's going smooth.
I've seen this opening to movies countless times.
Haven't you? But it's hard to name a whole bunch of them, though. It's kind of interesting. Some of them are probably like spoof movies, like Scary Movie and shit.
Well, I mean, Scream right off the top, yeah.
Scream right off the top, that's right. But the phone rings, right? The caller asks something along the lines of, have you checked on the kids? Have you made sure the doors are locked? Shit like that. Mm-hmm. So naturally, the babysitter is scared, so she checks the doors, makes sure they're locked. She turns the light on outside, see if anyone's there, and there's nothing. So eventually, she calls the police. The call is traced, and she's told the news, Andy. Yeah.
Michael, the call, it's coming from inside the house.
From inside the house. Exactly. Now, how did this story come about? We really don't know. But today we're going to source it back to Janett Christman.
All right.
Because there are some similarities, but there's also a lot of differences too.
All right.
But also this story is pretty infuriating because it's still unsolved to this day, and I don't think it should be. I think there's two really good suspects, and it's got to be one of them.
Flip a coin. Take one.
Flip a coin. Let's get into it.
Ding.
Hello? Bobby?
Have you checked the children?
What? Hello?
Have you checked the children?
Dr. Mandrakis? don't think this is very funny. Bobby. Who is this?
Precinct, Sergeant Sacker.
Hello. I've been getting phone calls about every 15 minutes. It's a man. I think he's trying to scare me.
An anonymous caller, ma'am?
That's right.
Has he threatened you?
No.
Has he been using obscene language?
No. Sometimes he doesn't say anything. He just keeps calling.
Well, there's really nothing we can do about it down here. Is the phone listed in your name?
No, I'm just a babysitter.
It's probably just some weirdo. The city's full of them. Believe it or not, we get reports like this every night. It's nothing to worry about.
Oh.
Hey, have you tried whistling?
What?
Well, if you can find a good loud whistle somewhere in the house, blow it into the phone hard next time he calls. Probably break his eardrum. He won't bother you after that.
No, You're probably right. It's nothing to worry about. Hello?
Why haven't you checked the children?
All right, so it's the 1950s, Andy. We're going all the way back to the 50s.
I feel like we should have some fedoras on in here right now.
We should. We're going to Columbia, Missouri. At the time, Columbia had a population of around 31,000. But I think most people felt safe.
Yeah, probably.
I myself, I feel completely safe.
I mean, this is
I
Missouri.
feel perfectly safe.
1950s.
Yeah.
Before those heydays to start making our entire businesses start based off.
Exactly.
Before the serial killers really start making the headlines of America.
Yeah, at this time, most people felt safe. They left their doors unlocked. They left their cars unlocked. They didn't think about what ifs as much, right? But Ann Cornett was getting ready on a Sunday morning. Her and her family were getting ready to head to church when the phone rings. Her mother answers, and she listens to the voice on the other end, and her face goes pale. Ann's father then turned the radio to the news. The family ended up skipping church that day because less than 30 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. A Columbia police officer was there, and he asked to speak to 13-year-old Ann. Obviously, Ann was pretty confused. The officer started asking her questions about a recent excursion that some girls from Jefferson Junior High, where Ann attended, had went to the University of Missouri, allegedly to pose for photos. Never posed for photos.
What?
But see, in the 80s, right, everybody was running this pose for photos scheme. But in the 50s.
Oh, yeah, it's breaking new ground here.
Right, it's breaking new ground.
I have a camera of my own. What?
Oh, what? And it's like, it sounds funny, but not everyone had access to pictures, But the officer asked whether anyone had harassed or stalked the girls that day, and Ann said no. Then he asked Ann for photos of her friends and asking if he could keep the one of Janett Christman. The next day, March 20th, 1950, that photo was on the front page of the local paper. Janett had been murdered while babysitting.
That is also very 1950s of just a cop being like, "You guys have any pictures lying around?" Like, I don't want to ask her mom right now. She's really hysterical.
And you can't just grab one off her Facebook or Instagram,
like, do you guys have any? Like I said, I don't want to talk to that lady. She's really crying. So,
right. But Janett was born March 21st, 1936. She was the oldest daughter of Charles and Lula Christman, with an 18-month younger sister named Rita and a newborn baby sister named Cheryl.
Still pretty fast. Oh, how quickly those are. Like 18 months younger than a newborn. It's been 1950s, though.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, they're starting a family. They're getting going, buddy.
Yeah, 1950s. Crank those things out.
That's right. The family lived in Columbia, Missouri. Janett's parents owned Ernie's Cafe and Steakhouse, and the family lived above the shop, like Bob Burger style.
Hell yeah.
I know, it's so cool, man. Janett attended 8th grade at Jefferson Junior High. She was a loving, church-going teenager who had a knack for playing the piano in the choir. She was deemed intelligent and pretty independent for her age. I mean, like most teenage girls of the 50s, though. I mean, shit, they were getting married, you know?
Yeah, at that time.
I mean, they had to be mature.
Yeah, you better be. Like 1950s, what are you, 13?
Yeah.
Good Lord, you are about marrying
About
age,
time to
young
find
lady.
a husband, huh?
About to be a Spencer,
what are you
young
doing with
lady.
your life? But Janett Christman was your typical 13-year-old. She liked to go out with her friends. She liked to shop, etc. So for her, you know, she liked to make a little side money, and the best way to do that was babysitting.
Yeah.
Of course.
How many other jobs were open to teenage girls in the 50s?
That's right. But on the night of March 18th, 1950, there was a nasty storm. It was raining and sleeting, temperatures dropping to 20 degrees. But that's okay, because Janett would be safe, I guess, inside.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that
just the
night.
weather.
Yeah, I mean, from the weather. That night was a school party, but Janett was hired to babysit 3-year-old Gregory Romack, and she wasn't going to neglect her responsibilities.
Oh, that's even more of the cliche of like, I gotta
Right.
skip the dance to do my babysitting.
Right? It's like she was probably like, you know, talking to her friends on the phone or whatever about the parties. Like, wish you would come. Hey, I can't. You know, I already told them. Just being responsible. Yeah. That night, around 7:30 p.m., her father, Charles, dropped her off at the Romack's home. The home was a one-story, perched on a hill on Stewart Road. By the time Janett arrived, Gregory was already asleep. So she was like, it's probably going to be some easy money,
Yeah, it's great.
right?
Hell yeah.
The couple told her that their son liked to sleep with the radio turned on, and he probably wouldn't be any trouble. So before Ed and Ann left for the night, Ed brought his shotgun out, and he showed Janett how to load and shoot the gun, and told her not to answer the door without turning on the porch light to make sure who was there first. Now, this seems odd for a 1950s safe town, right, Andy?
Also,
this seems like a
just-
weird gesture.
I just love the idea of her father also being like, all right, I'm going to drop you off to babysitting here. Make sure he shows you how to use the shotgun, okay, hun? You don't know who's going to be out here.
Well, the father didn't know about this at
I
the
know.
time.
Just like, even the idea of it just being
But it's like
you're
you-
teaching this 13-year-old girl. It's like, all right, my son, our baby's gonna be upstairs. He'll be sleeping most of the night. You're fine. There's snacks in the pantry. The TV has the 2 channels. Okay,
Right.
and here's the shotgun.
And this
okay?
here's a Mossberg 12 game.
Right.
No, no, but it is kind of odd, right? It's like the fact that he did this is kind of ominous in hindsight. It really is, and we'll talk about it more. But around 10:35 that evening, the local police department received a call from a girl screaming, come quick, before the line cut out. Ooh. Due to the late hour, the test board at the telephone company was not staffed, and the call couldn't be traced. How convenient.
This is the
Freaking
1950s. Yeah.
Yep. So closer to 11 p.m., Ann Romack called home from the Moon Valley Villa to check on Janett, but nobody answered. And considering how late it was, and she wasn't too concerned because she thought maybe Janett had just fallen asleep.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
But again, this is when you have a landline. So if she calls the house, that landline's gonna be ringing. Everyone in
For
the house
sure.
hears those landlines.
For
They were
sure.
designed to make sure whatever room in the house, you heard that phone ringing.
Very true. Very true. But when the Romacks returned home at 1:30 a.m., they saw the blinds were open, the porch light was on, and both the front and back doors were unlocked. And when they opened their front door, there was a pool of blood on the shag carpet by the family piano, and their eyes quickly found the source. Janett was lying lifeless on the floor there in their living room. Investigators found evidence of a struggle. Janett looked as though she had been drugged from one room to another. She was only 135 pounds, and the phone lines had been cut.
Like from the out, like just throughout the house or from the outside, like just like literally like scary movie style.
I mean, you think, you would hear the phone ring, but there's probably only one, maybe 2 phones in the house in 1950.
Oh, at this point, there's probably one. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So they only had to cut one line, and then the phone's inoperable. Boom. But there was also a window that had been broken with a garden hoe, and shards of glass were all over the carpet, and an adult male's footprints were found nearby. There were wounds on both sides of Janett's head, including puncture marks that appeared to have been made by a small metal instrument.
Ugh.
Yeah. Her face appeared to have been scratched by fingernails, The cause of death was ruled asphyxiation. The weapon was a power cord to an iron that had been cut and tied around her neck.
God, yeah, this was an attack.
Yes, this is like Richard Ramirez level attack right here. Her legs were spread out with her right slipper barely hanging off her foot. Janett had been raped and was pronounced dead at the scene. The details between when the Romacks left and when they returned still, or to this day, are a complete mystery. Investigators quickly figured out that the shattered window, though, had been a ruse to throw them off the track, and it appeared that Janett had willingly let someone in the house that night. So it had to have been someone she recognized.
Or somebody who convinced some 13-year-old girl they were somebody else. At this time, 1950s, this could be one of those situations. Somebody dresses up like a police officer and says, "I'm the police, open the door." This is a 13-year-old girl in the 50s. She's going to open the door.
Yeah. The sheriff immediately called it an inside job. He said because they just had too much familiarity with the house.
Mm-hmm. They knew where the phone line was, where this iron cord was, like where everything was to go get her, when she was going to be there alone.
Exactly. And Gregory Romack, the 3-year-old, was upstairs asleep. Never woke up during the entire thing. He was fine. Boone County Sheriff Department arrived with numerous detectives and bloodhounds, quickly stating that they had primary's jurisdiction in the case. And this was a problem. Especially when Lieutenant Joe Douglas from the city police, a different jurisdiction that didn't actually have any authority here since the Romacks lived 100 yards out of the city limits. But they arrived and tried to take over as well. So now you have these uncooperative agencies that aren't really working together too well. They all want credit more than they want to solve the case, right? And that becomes that becomes a big issue in the end. Yes, it does. Bloody fingerprints were taken and bloodhounds were brought in. The hounds tracked a trail from the home through some heavy underbrush to the corner of West Boulevard and West Ash Street towards a home. But right at that house, they lost the scent. And we will talk about that house again later.
Just right at the house.
Just right at a certain house.
Disappeared here. Yep.
Yeah. They definitely didn't go in, right? That's interesting. We'll talk about that too. Police Chief Pond asked the public to report anybody who acted strangely, missed work, showed up with visible scratches, or anything the days after the murder. Police sat at the Romack house from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. for 12 consecutive nights on the off chance that the perpetrator would return to the scene, and they never did. So, contrary to the urban legend, there's no hard evidence that Janett's killer placed any calls to the Romack's phone on the night of the murder. Rather either from inside or outside the house.
Mm-hmm. Because at this point, there's no cell phones. There's no, most likely, no other lines inside the house.
No. So local police started questioning men, and they questioned dozens. A lot of black guys, because they, racial bias, it's the 50s.
Yeah, okay.
But, they questioned a lot of people. However, Janett's family and the Romacks believe they know who did it.
Okay, they both when both families are
both
we
families.
know who did it. We're pretty sure we know who did it.
They believe it a local man named Robert Mueller could be responsible.
No connection to the other Robert Mueller.
And listen to this circumstantial evidence. It is quite damning. Robert, who was 27, was a friend of Ed Romack, who served in World War II as an Army Air Corps captain and had a criminal record. He later returned to Columbia, Missouri, taking over his father's restaurant, Mueller's Virginia Cafe, and working as a tailor. Many people just remember him as, being well-dressed and polite. However, according to Ed Romack, he had a lustful eye for virgin women, mainly young women, is what he meant.
Yeah.
And spoke about having a desire to defile someone young.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not something you just speak to your friends about randomly with somebody you just work with. That's not a normal conversation.
He was apparently an open book. It gets worse. Mueller also had mentioned he liked Janett and even commented on Janett's well-developed form. Okay.
What?
So this might explain why Ed left the shotgun.
Dude.
Maybe Ed was genuinely concerned about Mueller.
At that point, you shouldn't leave the girl alone. If you're that concerned, you shouldn't be like, all right, listen, there's a guy, big guy, kind of looking at you pretty lustfully. So we're going to go out to dinner. I left you with the Mossberg. All right, hon. Now, if he comes in here, you blow his face off.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's weird. It's just a weird thing, this story. Anne Romack admitted that she felt frightened, even, and uncomfortable around this man, around Mueller. And she said that he had run his hand across her dress 2 days before when they were alone, attempting to grope her breasts. And in a formal statement to the police, she described Mueller as a man who doesn't use words, he uses his hands.
Good. Yeah. Love how this is just all just common knowledge and everyone's just like, yeah, it's just Bob. You know Bob.
Yeah. Well, Robert Mueller was also known to carry around a mechanical pencil that would explain the puncture wounds that police found on Janett's body.
Yeah, those are some weird little wounds there.
It is, right? In the past, Janett also babysat for Mueller's children, and he asked her to babysit the night she told him that she would be at the Romack's house.
Why was anybody letting this girl babysit this man's children?
It gets worse, dude.
Good
it gets
Lord,
worse because the Romacks were out with the Muellers, bro. Mueller was at the card game gathering with the Romacks that evening, okay? But a couple hours in, he left, and he said he had to go meet the doctor who was tending to his sick son at home. He was gone for 2 hours, Andy. Mm-hmm. 2 hours. The police later questioned Mueller's doctor and discovered he never went to Mueller's house that evening. The hours that Mueller was gone were never accounted for.
Good Lord. Like, I love this idea. Oh, I'm going to go. My son's home sick, but I'm not going to take care of that bitch. So the doctor's coming by to check on him at some point. I got to go talk to the doctor at home. You know how sick kids are. You know,
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Exactly.
God, this is so just weirdly like everybody's just so okay with everything, it seems like.
Yeah, it's disturbing. Another implication is Ed got a phone call from Mueller on the morning after the murder. Supposedly, Mueller had asked if he needed any assistance with cleaning up the blood throughout the house. And Ed said at the time he shouldn't have even known about the murder because the crime hadn't even been printed in the local newspaper yet, and only authorities were keen on the story.
Yeah, you never called. Right? Literally, less than 24 hours. It's like, hey,
The next
clean
morning.
up with that blood in your house.
Right.
I mean, do you have any blood in your house you need help?
I mean, just by chance.
Like by chance,
I got some good blood cleaner. I thought I would try it out. No, but additionally, Ed claimed Mueller would later speak to him regarding the crime, and he began expounding, on how he believed the crime unfolded. Kind of an OJ thing. If I did it, you know,
like if someone were to have done this,
and but he claimed specifics like breaking a window to climb into the home would be too loud and noticeable, and instead it would be much easier to knock on the door and say, "Ed sent me here to get poker chips." That is so specific.
That is weird. Oh my God, this small fucking Missouri town is being like, all right, we got to kill Ed, right? We got to.
This needs to be like that, was it Rex McElroy story where that town
like
shot him because he was just a fucking asshole?
Yeah, but this guy is clearly just being like, I mean, if someone were to have done this, like,
Yeah,
all you have to say is like, Ed sent me here.
right. And in case you needed any more evidence, Ed also stated, now this is all hearsay, right? But Ed also stated that Robert once told him that he could have murdered Janett and just forgotten about it.
What? I love this. This is just the sheer ignorance and like we don't talk about things of the 1950s.
Yeah.
Of like if all of these things have been said and Ed is just like, all right, Robert, are you gonna deal him or not?
I know, right?
We're all here to play cards. Like I don't know why you keep saying stuff about this guy's daughter. Like she's not even here.
Yeah,
Like, you gonna play or not?
It's disturbing. But you got to remember, like, all these guys are young, too. They're all in their 20s. I know they all have old names, but it's 1950s.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are just in their 20s. Like, they don't, I don't know. It's like, it's not like you had the internet to be like, what do I do if my friend's talking about killing people?
Yeah, like I said,
like, is this a real sign? Like,
of just nobody talks about anything. We don't talk about that. Robert says some weird shit. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, sometimes Robert says weird shit. He won't do nothing.
We don't talk about that.
Exactly. But in May of 1950, law enforcement compiled all the evidence against Robert and went to his home to confront him. And the sheriff even brought Mueller to a farmhouse owned by the deputy sheriff for an all-night questioning session.
Oh, that's
some 1950s shit right there.
That's country shit right there. That is some small town country shit.
They beat the fuck out of him, right?
That is we're taking you to Richard's barn.
For real.
We're gonna get a confession.
Well, the next day, apparently unsatisfied with his answers, the sheriff took him to Jefferson City to undergo a lie detector test. The prosecuting attorney was not told about the questioning, and the sheriff did not request an arrest warrant for Mueller. So, but oddly enough, I don't think this really affects the case at all. I guess because it's the 50s.
No, not back then.
It's like, they didn't give a shit.
Yeah, when the sheriff just shows up with this guy and he's got just 2 black eyes and a bunch of just blood coming out of his nose. He was like, I found him like this. You can have him now.
He said he did it.
He said he didn't do it. I don't believe him.
No, but on May 24th, Judge Dinwiddie, I'm not even kidding, Judge Dinwiddie enrolled a grand jury to examine the case and ended up releasing the findings on June 17th to the public. The grand jury never ended up returning an indictment for Mueller. Instead, they just argued amongst themselves and blamed the police and sheriff's departments for not working together.
Guys, listen, we can argue about specifics later, all right?
Dude, and even though all of the overwhelming circumstantial evidence, nothing else came from Mueller's case, he was never charged with anything.
God damn. Like I said, just this, we don't need to talk about that. Like, we got other, you guys didn't do it the way we think you should have done it, so that's what we're going to argue about.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. It was just, I think there was just no real evidence. And there were certain people of the jury that's like, if you can't link him there, then how can I say he did it?
There's no DNA back then. There is no security cameras. There's
But there were an overwhelming amount of people who thought Mueller was guilty, and so soon afterward, him and his family left Columbia, and he later attempted to sue the local authorities for violating his civil rights during the questioning, but he lost the case. And Robert Mueller ended up dying in 2006 at 83 years old, and he never said another word about the murder of Janett.
Because you could just forget about it, like he said.
I guess so, yeah. But though the investigation officially remains open, the case went cold many years ago, with many adamant that Mueller was the culprit. However, at some point in time, there was another theory that came about, and I think it served as mainly just a distraction or a red herring for this story, really, for this case. But about a week before Janett was murdered, a friend of hers named Lois Terry had been babysitting in the same area when she heard a knock at the door. When she looked out to see who it was, she saw a strange man that she didn't know standing outside. Terry said something about the man made her feel uneasy, and so she didn't open the door. It was not until many years later that Terry ended up seeing this man again in public, out with his new wife, when Terry had the same feeling. Now, she believed she looked into the eyes of a killer, and this man could have murdered her that night. And when he did not get the chance, he waited and preyed on someone else. Now, I mean, this is very circumstantial, right? Like, everything here totally relies on Terry's feelings.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? Like, that's not much, right?
This is just one thing that you said happened at one point. There was you didn't call the police that night.
Exactly. But apparently, they knew who this man was. He could be identified. And kind of a damning thing about it is that he lives less than a half a mile from the Romack home. And that just happened to be the home the bloodhound stopped at.
Oh, that's actually, that makes it a little bit more poignant of a guess there.
Right.
It's like you did follow the bloodhounds who had a scent from this house.
Exactly. And oddly enough, the police never pursued this man or went back to this property. His name has been held out of public record. All efforts led police to Mueller. So maybe Mueller's the red herring. Maybe Mueller is the one that is the fall guy, and he didn't do it. Maybe it's this motherfucker, and he's more connected than Mueller ever thought about being.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like it's almost like the same idea of like back then, where the police get the idea that they know who did it, so they're just gonna focus on one person, whether or not that person did it or not. They're like, oh, we know this person did it, so that's all of our investigation's gonna go into. We've heard look at all the things people have said about this guy. That's enough for us to go on. It's
exactly.
Like, well, the dogs took you to this person's house. Yeah, it's a dog. Come on, it's a dog.
Right. It's kind of how they felt. Or maybe the dogs led them there, and they were like, we're going to search this. And then the local police showed up and said, no, the fuck you're not. Mm-hmm. This is our case. You see what I'm saying? Because now you're a block away. Maybe they traveled over 100 yards and went into the jurisdiction that the city police had now. You see what I'm saying? So I think that could have been, this case is very old, so we don't have specifics. Obviously, I'm spitballing here, but that could have been a good way that the jurisdiction argument could have hindered the case greatly.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
You got literally two guys showing up being like, we think it's this person. It's like, well, you're in our turf right now. You got to put some paperwork in. Let us know what you guys find. And then we'll do a right warrant search on this property. But you got to do all the right, red tape, dot your I's, cross your T's. And then we might get around to searching this property. But until then, this is our area. You get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
It's like gang territory wars, but it's literally jurisdiction wars of police departments. And this was, like I said, a huge problem back then. That's why so many serial killers were allowed to, were able to sneak by for so long, because you had so many police departments who were not sharing information. They wanted the credit more than the actual case to be solved.
Exactly.
So
exactly, yeah. It interfered a lot in this case, and I do think that was key. I'd like to know who lives in that house, but I mean, probably a police officer or something. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. For the name to be completely withheld and everything, it's like it's somebody connected.
Somebody that those people knew. They were like, oh, well, that's Jim's house.
It can't be Jim. I mean.
This dog just knows him.
That's Captain Jim. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, the dog just went to smelled somebody he knew and came here. It's like, maybe? You fucking ask the dog again? I don't know.
Shoot. He smelled that scent like he was wearing Oh My Gaia.
Oh, he wouldn't have got away then. That dog would have been fucking pointing like a Bugs Bunny character.
He would have known exactly where he is. Because he would have been wearing an innovative all-natural deodorant or a fragrance or a beard oil from a company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. And there's tons of scents to choose from, like vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle. One of my favorites. That dog would be going crazy over some dreamsicle, man. It just, don't eat it. But you want to.
But you can't. Don't. But
smells good enough to eat. And we have our own scent, True Crime Pine, just for the True Crime Guys. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can get 15% off your order at ohmygaia.com by using the code word CrimePine, CRIMEPINE, no spaces, Crime Pine. And that'll give you 15% off your order. Again, that's ohmygaia.com, ohmygaia.com. And guys, also don't forget to check out Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where you can hear everything we've ever created. And extended versions of some of that, like these episodes. Also, make sure you give us a follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave a review if possible. Check us out on social media. Athena will keep you guys up to date on everything that's topical and happening in the true crime world. At True Crime Guys on Facebook, Instagram, X, all the things. We appreciate you listening, and if you got a case suggestion, you can hit us up on either of those social medias or send us an email at truecrimeguys@gmail.com, or you could send us a message on Patreon. That'd be fine too. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Andy, you got anything?
I do not, Michael. Ready for fall. It's too fucking hot in here.
We'll hope it cools down. Pretty soon we'll be freezing in here.
Yeah.
That'll be great. All right, guys, well, until next week, just keep on creeping.
Bye.